Okay, I hope we can continue from here. So far we see that what is independent variable, what is dependent variable. Okay, you can have single variable or you can have multiple variable. So our independent variable is self-study and good lecturer. Our dependent variable is academic performance. Now you have to find out that how you measure your IV and AV, how you measure. You see the academic performance. It can be measured by CGPA. It can be measured by attendance. If your attendance good, then your academic performance is good. Your extracurricular activities, if you join in some club, your other social activities, then your academic performance is also good. So these are the measures to measure the academic performance. And you have to find out also to measure how you measure the self-study. Like self-study, if you give some time, how much time you give for the self-study, how many hours you give. If you give some effort, okay, your dedication, your attentiveness, how attentive you are. So these are the measurement of the self-study you have to find out. And good lecturer, how is his education? His education is well or not? His experience, his content, the lecture notes is good or not? His delivery, he can pronounce the English very well or not, or it's very gloomy. So you see that these are some factors to measure the good lecturer. So for your every independent variable, your dependent variable, you have to find out some measurement. Where you can find this measurement? You have to go to the literature from your previous researcher for how they measure. You can find out their appendix. There they have the questionnaire. They have the questionnaire. They have the questions. What the questions they ask to the other people to measure the self-study, to measure the good lecturer. This statement you just bring to your study. Is it clear?
All right, sir.
Hello? Yeah. So you have to find out this measurement from the others people study, others people thesis, others people article. Every article they have some measurement. They in the analysis part they give a table. There they say that this variable measured by this variable measured by this. So you have to find out this measurement. So you see we have the two IV here. That means we have two hypotheses. So self-study in hypothesis 1, it impacts onto the academic performance. Good lecturer is hypothesis 2, it impacts onto the academic performance. So if you have multiple hypotheses and if you have multiple IB, that means your hypothesis is also multiple. Hypothesis 3, 4, 5, 6, like this way, it will be increased. If you have one IB, one DB, that you have the one hypothesis. So now you can see that why I skipped the chapter 1. Why I skipped the chapter 1, the research question, research objective, because you have to draw this framework first, then only you can know that your objective and your hypothesis. Then you can write down here your objective a research question. You see that example, how will be your research question here? Research question 1. Okay, that for this study, research question 1 will be, what is the impact of self-study on academic performance? So here research question will be, what is the impact of self-study on academic performance in BPA students of Alpha Universities. Now question mark. So now you can find out the relationship why I skip that, and chapter 2 have a link with the chapter 1. Okay, so if like that, also you have to write down research question 2. What is the impact of the good lecturer on academic performance of BBA students of Alfa University. And research objective also same. Research objective 1 to examine the, just copy from the research question, then you can paste here full stop. Research objective will be full stop, research question will be the question mark. So you see that how easy and how it's linked up with one to another. Research question, research objective is linked with the chapter 2, the framework. So that's why chapter 2 is the most fundamental and most important chapter of a project. Okay, so if you have multiple hypotheses, then you have the multiple objective, multiple research question. Is it clear? Is very fundamental.
Clear, sir.
Okay, thanks. So that's why you see the hypothesis. For this framework, we have two hypotheses. Self-study has significant positive impact on academic performance. Good lecturer has a significant positive impact on academic performance. Okay, so now the question can become, how you say positive, why not negative? Okay, you can find out this positive negative relationship from the previous article, the others article, how they measure that self-study positive or negative. If they find out the positive negative, then you also can assumption. Hypothesis means what? Hypothesis means there have two possibility. Either you can go this way or you not go this way. Either is accept or it's reject. Okay, so hypothesis is like that. Some students, they write down the null hypothesis. Okay, null hypothesis you can write down. It's like the previously they used this null hypothesis, but now the researcher, they want directional hypothesis, positive or negative, significant or insignificant, this kind of direction they want. Okay, but for your bachelor, you can skip that. You can only say that self-study has impact on academic performance and alpha. You can skip the direction, it's okay for the bachelor, but you have to write down hypothesis like this way. The self-study has impact or influence on academic performance of Alfa University BBA students. Okay, but it's good if you can give the direction, significant or positive or negative. Okay, so chapter 2 we covered how many contents. We already introduction, you write down what is the content of chapter 2. Dependent variable, you describe your dependent variable. What is your dependent variable in this study? The academic performance. So you write down here academic performance and you describe something about the academic performance from the previous literature or previous article to your website. Lot of information there available. And independent variable also you write down their information. Okay, and link up with your study. If you have multiple independent variable, then you write down this one. Multiple self-study is one, then the good lecturer is number 2, then you write down the good lecturer, how is impact onto the academic performance. Just from the previous studies you take the information. Then you have to find out the relevant theories. 1 or 2 theory is okay, no need to more 3 4 multiple theories. So related what? When you go to the literature, when you study others people work, you can find out that what kind of theories they use. Okay, for the academic performance, what kind of theory can be used. So you have to find out 1 or 2 theories and you describe this theory. There are a lot of theory into the management study. Okay, like for the motivation of the student, there have the theory of the Maslow's theory. Maslow's theory is like the motivation of a pupil. We need some food first, then we need education, then we need higher respect and friendship. Okay, then recognition. This is a Maslow's theory says. So if like that, lot of management theory have, stakeholders theory have. So you can find lot of theory. You just search down in the Google that theory about academic performance or theory about the education. So you can find lot of theories there. You choose which theory fit with your study. Then you choose and write down little bit. It can be one page is okay. If you have 2 theories, you write down 2 pages is okay. Any questions?
No, sir. Continue.
Okay. Then the conceptual framework, we already draw this conceptual framework earlier. So you just copy this framework and then you put here. Okay. So this is done already. So that's why you have to draw first this conceptual framework. That's why it's important. I make the red color highlighted. So this framework is drawing is important for you first. Then you can link up with the objective and its hypothesis. Then hypothesis development. In the hypothesis development section, you just write something about the relationship between the IV and DV. So if you have IV, like here is the self-study is one. Self-study is one IV. Then DV is academic performance. Academic performance, right? In the short, I just tell academic performance. So you no need to write down IV and DV like this. I'm giving this as an example, IV and DV. For your study, you write down relationship between self-study and academic performance. Then you find out some information regarding the self-study and academic performance. You put, it's like half page is okay. Okay, only half page. So if you have multiple IB, then you write down multiple IB's description, then give the chapter summary. In the chapter summary, what you write down? You write down that what are the contents you so far you covered here. You write down that this theory I use and I draw a framework and I giving the hypothesis development section. So you just write down that. That is chapter 2 complete. Chapter 2 supposed to be around similar like chapter 1. More than chapter 1 is good. 10 to 12 pages. If 10 pages is still okay. Okay. So chapter 2 done. Any questions, sir? So far?
No question.
Okay, done. So chapter 2 finish. Now we're going to chapter 3. Chapter 3 is called the research methodology. It's a technical subject. It's more technical. Chapter 1, chapter 2 is more literature. You can find out information from others. But chapter 2, you have to write down from your own word, your own studies word. Okay. Chapter 3, you write down introduction. Here you write down that what are the contents you will be cover. You will be cover into chapter 3, like research design, source of data, population. Those are the content we will cover in chapter 3. So you write down this information here. In chapter 3, number 2 is the research design. Research design means what is the design of your study, what is the design of your topics, your project. So you already know that your study is what? Quanti, quali, or mix. So you write down this study is a quantitative study, or this study is a qualitative study. You write down that. And then there have a question is inductive or deductive. Inductive, deductive, I'm giving a example. Inductive, deductive, just give. Deductive means what? Deductive means if your study use any theory, then you make the hypothesis, that is called deductive. But if your study don't have any theory and don't have any hypothesis, like qualitative study, then it's the inductive. Okay, so mostly quantitative studies are deductive study. So you write down my study, this study is a deductive study. So is it clear? If you use the theory, previous theory, then you tell the hypothesis, you draw the developed hypothesis, that is the deductive. If you don't have any theory, you need to develop a theory, that is the inductive. That means the qualitative study mostly and mixed method study, they are mostly inductive study. Okay. Okay. So then the source of data. Source of data is primary data and secondary data. There are two types of data, primary or secondary. Secondary data means that newspaper article, the Google Scholar article, others people work, and then financial data from the bank. Those are already available into the online. That is called secondary data. And those information is not available. We have to collect. Please, they're making some noise. So if there have any information not available, but we have to go to the field, we have to interview, or we have to distribute the questionnaire, we collect the information, that is called the primary data. So this is fundamental. This is very important to understand that your study is what? Primary or secondary. Most of the studies, those who working on financial data, like bank performance, ratio, ROE, ROA, okay, and then the corporate governance, those are used the secondary data. 10-year, 15-year companies performance, 10-year, 15-year share market performance. That is mostly secondary data. But we, as a student in the bachelor, when we do the project, we mostly focus on the primary data because it's very limited time, and secondary data managing needs a lot of time. So mostly we focus on primary data. That means we collect the data from the field. Okay, so that is the primary data. And then the population, you have to know the population of your study. Like if you study in the bank, then which bank you select. Like Nigeria have a lot of district, example 60 district. 60 district, it is not possible to cover. So you have to make small, and then you have to find out that which bank has the problem. Maybe some newspaper say this bank have the corruption, suppose example. So this is your population, the issue related to this bank. So in that bank, which people you go to interview, employee or top management or the customer. So if you study related to the customer satisfaction, then you go for the customer, those who use the service of the bank. If your study is no employees performance or employee satisfaction, then you have to go to the employees data. You need employees data. So your population is the employee that time. If you see that the top management leadership have problem, then your population will be the top management of that bank specifically. So population not means the whole Nigeria's population, 2 million, 3 million, 5 million. No, your population of the research means your specific, your problem related to which population, which company, which organization, and how many population. If you know the population, that is called probability. If you know the number of the population, if you don't know, then it's called non-probability. Is it clear? If you know the number of the organization, if you do the research onto the Am I audible? I think the network is some problem. Right?
Your voice is breaking.
My voice is breaking. I'm stopping my video. You can see. If you now you can see now you can hear.
Yes,
Yeah, go on.
Okay. So if you know the population, if you know the number of the bank or number of the manufacturing company, then it's called the probability. And if you don't know the number, then it's called the non-probability. Okay. So you have to find out the population. Who is your population of your study? If you do research on unemployment of the a village, okay, Nigeria in a village, Nairobi, unemployment into the Nairobi, then how many unemployment people is available in the Nairobi? That is your population. Population means not the 2 million, 3 million of the Nigerian population. Okay. So if you work in the organization, like some students, they're working onto the packaging of the milk product into a Nigerian company. So that packaging company is the population, how many customers they use, if they or how many employees they have, that is the population of the study. And then the sampling technique. So after, firstly, you have to determine that your study is probability or non-probability. So now you know that you might, it not possible to get the data from the number is not possible, not available. Then you go for the non-probability. You will see that this is the sampling technique. So if the probability, then you have to use this any one method. If you have non-probability, then you have to use any of the method. The probability, there are simple random, systematic, stratified, cluster. That means I give most of the study, you focus only one. Okay, you focus on, no need to make so complex. If you know the company's name, then you go for the probability and you use the simple random. That means there have how many students? 30 students, including me. So I give the data to the Chibuke. Okay. Then suddenly I give the data to Bahar. Suddenly I give the data Donald. Okay. If I do randomly, I distribute data, that is the simple random. And then every students of this 30 students are the BBA student, and they have the same quality to participate in the study. So that is the simple random. So when you use the simple random, every company, every employee have to be employee of that organization. Or if you want to do study onto the unemployment, so every people have to be unemployment. Then you can use this sampling. And if you don't know any population, then you go for the non-probability. Then you choose the convenience is the most widely used. Convenience means based on your convenience. Researcher wish, okay, up to your wish. So it's convenient for you to collect the data from the those bank employee. So you just go them and then you interview them. But it's not suggested to use non-probability. It's not strong. It's a bit weak, because you see that you use your own judgment, you use your own method. So that is non-probability. So we don't mostly not prefer, but you can use for the bachelor level. It's okay. You have to say that in the chapter 3 that which sampling technique you use, probability or non-probability. Then you have to tell that which method you use, simple random or the convenient. I hope you get some idea. Is it clear? Hello.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, continue.
Okay. Then number 5 is the questionnaire design. So you have to collect the data from your employee. You need a questionnaire. You need a questionnaire. That means your question. So how it's look like. I'm giving an example how it's look like. Just 1 minute. Okay. You can see my screen questionnaire.
Yes, yes.
Okay. This is the questionnaire. Okay. This is the questionnaire looks like. That means if we go to the market, sometimes they give us form to fill up, right? You agree, disagree, neutral. This kind of form is the questionnaire. Okay. That means you use a printed or you use the online Google form also can. By the Google form, you just make this question. At first, you have to have title of the study. Then you write down something, the purpose of the study, your aim or objective. Then you write down some basic, like if this study needs 10 minutes to fill up, to survey, fill up, and then I will keep the data confidential. I will not disclose. I will never use this data in another purpose. So you just assure the respondent. Make the sound.
Your account is almost.
Okay, I already muted. No problem. So in the questionnaire is like that. You have to give the title first, then you give some objective, then you have to tell the information that your data will be safe. You ensure him. Then you give your name and your email and contact number so that anytime they can contact with you. Then we are going to the main part. In the section 1 is the demographic profile. Demographic profile means that your gender, the employee is male or female, then age 20 years old and below, 21 years to 25 years old. So, but this age you cannot simply select. You have to calculate that, like you see that 20 years old and below, that means below 20 years and then 20 years old, that is under this section. But this section cannot start from the 20. You cannot start from the 20, because if you start from the 20, then 20 is already here and again 20 is already here, so he will be confused which one he's under. So you have to start from 21, then 25, then you see that this one start from 26, not 25. So you have to start from one step below. Okay, so this is the age, the discipline, students is science, business or humanities section, which discipline. So this is the basic information of the demographic. If the employee, then you have to write down the level, he manager, he nor senior manager or junior manager or employee. These are the information given. So these are the questionnaire is the demographic. Now you're going to section B, that is the variable part. Okay, in the variable part you have to tell the this table, you have to draw that strongly agree means number 1, disagree means number 2, neutral means number 3, agree means number 4, strongly agree means number 5. So there have 5 scale, that is called the Likert scale. You see the 5-point Likert scale, that means 1 2 3 4 5, this is scale. So sometimes they have the 6 scale, sometimes have 7 scale, but normally mostly we use the 5 Likert scale, 5-point Likert scale, because it's easy and not confusing. So you see why this number is used. Here is the 1 2 3 4 5. So you have to write down here, use variable, your IB1, like our study is what, our study is self study, is the IB. So you have to write down here self study. Then another IB is our good lecturer, then you have to say here the good lecturer. Then you find out this question. Where you find out this question, you have to find out from the article or from the thesis, others people work, okay, previous work. So how they measure, and then you have to write down the dependent variable. He this sample he used many IB, that's why his table is many. But if you have only 2 IB, then you have the 2 IB and 1 for the dependent variable, 1 for the DB, the academic performance. So CGPA, then your extracurricular activities, those are the items will be write down here in the column. Okay, and then you have to give some number, not 1 by 1 2 3. You have to, like you see that his IV is perceived usefulness, so he used the first capital of P and U. So PU1, PU2, PU3, and this one is perceived use. So he use PEU, the first capital of the word. So he take PEU1, PEU2, PU, because when we do the analysis into the software, they cannot take this whole word. They cannot take this whole word. This is the limitation of the software. Software, they want no gap, cannot keep any gap. Okay, and short form. So you use the short form. So you choose your variable, then you rename like this way in the questionnaire. So you have to design this questionnaire by yourself. In the printing, if you distribute like this, print also okay, or you can prepare into the Google form. How you do the Google form? You just see the YouTube, there you can find this lot of video have how you can prepare a Google form, very easy. You just make this one first in the Word file, then you copy this information and then paste in the Google form by the Google Drive. Okay, so that is the questionnaire. Any questions here in the questionnaire? Any questions? Understand?
No questions, sir. Continue.
No question. Thank you.
Okay. The section 1 is the demographic. Section B is the your variables related questions. So that is the questionnaire done, part done. So we are already complete our questionnaire design. We design already our questionnaire. Okay. Then you have to write down in chapter 3 that data collection method. Which method you use? If you collect this questionnaire data by questionnaire, then you are using the survey. Or if you take the interview one by one recording, then is interview. So you have to tell that which method you use, survey or interview. And then instrument. Here you see that 5, 6, 7 Likert scale. That's now I show you that which scale you use. So we are using 5 Likert scale. So you write down that my instrument is 5 Likert scale used. And data analysis part. Which type of analysis you do? In the data analysis, there are multiple types of data analysis. So you have to write down which types of data analysis you do, like descriptive, correlation, regression, the reliability, those kind of data analysis available. We will discuss in chapter 4, then you will be clear more, but you have to write down here that which type of analysis you will do in chapter 4. Then what kind of tool you use? You use Excel or you use SPSS. You have to write down the software name. Okay. Then the summary. Chapter 3 is very simple, very short. It will be around 3 to 4 or 5 pages maximum. Okay. In the 5 pages, you can finish the chapter 3 mostly, because the information is very limited. No need to big lot of information. If you want, you can do like survey. You can give the definition of survey. You can give the definition of primary data. You can give the definition of quantitative study. It's up to you. Okay. There are no limitation. So we done the chapter 3. I hope you get the idea for chapter 3. So for going to analysis, we need these things done first. The questionnaire we need to do done first. We need to done this framework. Then we can only start our analysis. And another question is, how many data I collect? You supposed to ask me this question, but you never ask. You didn't ask that how many people's interview I take, or how many data I will collect. Okay, it's not like that 20 people I take. I found 20 people, then I collect 20 people. It's not like that. Your number of population will give you the idea that how many data you have to collect. They have a table I'm sharing. This is called the Crazy and Morgan table 1970. Okay, you just write down this thing in the Google, you can find this table in the image. So here they already, who make the sound? Please mute. Emmanuel again. Okay. So in the table, he made our life very easy. Okay, Crazy and Morgan. He already give a table that mentioned N is the number of population and S is the sample size. How many people, how many population, how many sample size need? They already given the table. So you see, if your population, if you choose a company where the employee is 100, so your is 100 is your population, then your sample will be the 80. That means 80 people's data is sufficient for you, is enough for you. So here is the N is the number of the population, then sample size, S is the your how many data you want. So you just need to find out this table and then you choose that which data under you. Okay. If you choose a village and unemployment number is like 1000, then you see the where is the 1000. Here is the 1000. So for 1000 people, you need 278 data. It's suggested. You just write down this number. Then if you cannot find this huge number of people, then you can just give explanation, justification that due to the COVID, due to the SOP, we cannot reach to the people, and then online they didn't reply enough sufficiently. Then you give some justification. Then I distribute the questionnaire to 1000 people, but I get the question like the 50 or 100. That you just give the explanation you need, but you have to justify that why your population is, your response is very low. So your chapter 3 is done here. Any questions? Chapter 3?
No question. Thank you.
Okay.
The data analysis part is not clear to me.
Sorry.
The data analysis part is not clear to me.
Not yet done. I not yet done data analysis. Data analysis
Okay.
part. Data analysis part. You have to in the chapter 3. You no need to do the analysis yet. In the chapter 3, you just write down that what type of data you will be analysis. Okay. What are the analysis? You just write down the name here. Like you see that this is the chapter 4. In the chapter 4, now we are going to analyze the data. There have the reliability test, there have descriptive test, correlation test. So you write down this information into the chapter 3 only, that I will use
Hello.
analysis.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Sir, please, the topic, is it the same topic or we are writing on this research methodology?
Sir, we have less than 1 minute. In the next session, I will give you your answer. At first, I will take your question. Okay. Okay.
Okay.
So rejoin. You need any break? 5 minutes or 10 minutes?
No.
No. Okay. Okay. So excited. Okay. Great. Great to see. Thank you. Just join again.